Psychic Focus at psychicfocus.blogspot.com, and today's topic is suppression of truth through history. So here was a question, and I really liked it. Made me think and really put a lot into this. So what was said lately, I've been thinking about all the censorship and suppression of truth, and it dawned on me that this type of thing has happened since the beginning of time. Whether museums and history and knowledge were intentionally destroyed, libraries burned to the ground, or textbooks rewritten, it's all the same thing. Truth is suppressed and history is destroyed. Are we ever going to know the truth? So please see the following articles on the destruction of the infamous art during world wars, the Iraq museums being sacked, and burning of the Library of Alexandria. These are just a few of the many times that truth, culture, and history have been destroyed. Is this ever going to stop? And this question, they were so right. When you think about it, from the beginning of time, our history, things that have documented where we are or events have been destroyed, sometimes inadvertently, sometimes intentionally, and then history ends up getting rewritten, and we lose touch of the authenticity of what was once there. So, you know, I thought about this question, read it, I thought about it for a while, and you know, it's true that history, knowledge, and pieces of culture have been destroyed. I mean, that's factual, that's been documented, it's been even shared in the articles I have there. And I get that. When I thought about it, you know, I hear these winners, or those that want to be perceived as winners, they like to write their own story. There's always two sides to every war and fighting, and the good side is usually the side that you're on, or the side that you most relate to. I mean, there's propaganda that infiltrates that. It could be that, you know, you have family fighting in the war, so of course you're going to side with the side that your family's on, or you have a vested interest in one side, and you're always going to see that opposing side as the bad people, which that isn't necessarily true, because if you were on their side, they would see you as the bad people. So it's always going to be, you know, there's good and bad on both sides of any type of confrontation, depending on what your perspective is in the middle of that. So it doesn't mean that there's good and valid points to each side, but we're programmed to see the opposing side as the one that should lose. It's just ingrained us. It's our human nature. So going on with that theme and thinking about it in those terms, historically, during or after battle, the dominant side, or the winner, they want their story, or their side of this story, to be the one that lives on, because you want to be the good person, right? You don't want to be viewed as the bad person and have that be the way that it's documented. So to keep their perspective and be the good, you know, side, they have to basically write the history. They have to be the ones in charge of how that story gets shared from that point forward. And it was a perfect example of after World War II, you know, Europeans, they took all the textbooks. They took so much literature, they completely destroyed it, and they rewrote it. So their version of the war was, you know, the way that that story lived on, and that's the way that it got taught to their children. You know, within a few decades, you basically have rewritten whatever that was. You know, there's absolute truth, which people don't normally know, and then there's a lot of variations of truth based on your perspective and your experience and your interaction with whatever it was. But the PTW, the powers that were, they want to make sure that it's their version as being the absolute truth, when it's really their perception of that truth that is really living on. And just even in our modern times, censorship and suppression, they're destroying our current history and our current knowledge. I even get now the information on the internet is slowly being rewritten, and they're changing the meaning of actual events to fit current narratives. They're picking apart even things like the Constitution and trying to manipulate things to fit agendas that they want to pass. As an experiment, what I did, I went on my search engine. I know this is a little off topic, but you know, I'm discussing the reading and how I came up with what I had based on things I heard, saw, felt, impressions I got. Something just told me, you know, go online. And I shared a picture of this on the blog, and I typed in there, history being rewritten. I just wanted to see what things came up just in a normal search engine. Of course, I use DuckDuckGo. That's also an important key fact. But first three things. How and why does history get rewritten? There's a story about that. Rewriting history in the pursuit of ignorance. That's number 2. Number 3, history is being rewritten to fit the new world order. So that was just the first 3 things that populated. Our history is currently being rewritten, and it's been happening since the destruction of, museums, libraries, and everything else. So rather than taking everything that you see and hear as facts, you always have to put an intuitive filter on it, because we're flooded with not only some elements of truth that are out there, but there's a highly amount of manipulated information out there as well. And sadly, I didn't see this stopping. Knowledge is power. We hear that all the time, and it poses a threat to those who seek power. Those who want power don't want you to also have power. Truth is out there, but we're flooded with so much other stuff, like what I was saying, that you just have to really question everything. And all in all, that was really all I have. I hope you find this interesting. Go do a search for yourself. I think it will be pretty enlightening for you to see what's really going on out there. And that's, like I said, all I have, but please leave a comment, like me, share me, all those wonderful things. And again, I'm Lynn with Psychic Focus at psychicfocus.blogspot.com. Thank you. Bye.